Imagine for a second that you never have to set an alarm clock again, but instead of spending your days sipping cocktails on a beach, you find yourself waking up at 5 a.m., not out of duty, but out of a burning, uncontrollable desire to build something that actually matters. Most people think financial independence is the finish line where productivity goes to die. They imagine a life of endless leisure, golf courses, and quiet afternoons. They are dead wrong. The reality of financial independence, retire early, is not about retiring from life. It is about retiring from the obligation to trade your finite hours for someone else's survival. It is the ultimate power to look your boss, your bills, and the societal pressure to keep up directly in the eye and say a firm, unshakable no. Let's talk about the silent anxiety that keeps you up at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. You're sitting at your desk, the fluorescent lights humming above you like a swarm of angry bees, and you feel that tightness in your chest. It is the realization that you are selling your life force to pay for a lifestyle that you don't even enjoy. You are trapped in a corporate hamster wheel, running faster every year just to stay in the same place. This isn't just a job. It is a cage built from debt, subscription services, and the desperate need to signal your success to people you don't even like. You look at your bank account and realize the numbers are barely moving, even though you're working 60 hours a week. That anxiety isn't a personality trait. It is a warning light on your dashboard, signaling that your current trajectory is unsustainable. Now, contrast that with someone who has actually reached the summit of financial independence. Imagine a person, perhaps someone like you, who has built a portfolio that generates enough cash flow to cover the basics. They don't quit working. Instead, they pivot. They spend their mornings writing code for a passion project, volunteering at a community garden, or mentoring someone who is struggling with the same corporate burnout they once faced. When they work, it is with a lightness, a sense of play. They aren't working to pay off a luxury car they bought to impress neighbors. They are working because the work itself is a reward. This is the psychological shift that nobody tells you about when they talk about early retirement. It is not the absence of work. It is the presence of choice. We need to dismantle the myth that work is something to be avoided at all costs. Humans are wired for purpose, for creation, for contribution. When you remove the pressure of having to perform to keep your health insurance or your mortgage, you don't become lazy. You become dangerous in the best possible way. You become a person who can pursue high-risk, high-reward creative ventures because you aren't afraid of losing your next paycheck. You stop being a cog in someone else's machine and start becoming the architect of your own ecosystem. This is the true definition of wealth, the ability to command your own time without needing permission from a human resources department. But how do you get there without falling into the traps that keep everyone else broke? It starts with a radical shift in your relationship with status. Most people are stuck because they are playing a game they can't win. They buy the car, the house, and the clothes, trying to signal that they have made it. But the moment you start spending to impress others, you're essentially paying for their opinion. And here's the secret: those people aren't even watching. They are too busy worrying about their own status. To reach true independence, you must embrace the concept of stealth wealth. You must learn to live beneath your means, not because you are poor, but because you are playing a longer game than everyone else in the room. Think about the math of your life as a series of trade-offs. Every dollar you spend on a status symbol is a piece of your future freedom that you're trading away. If you spend $500 on a luxury item, you aren't just losing $500. You are losing the compounding interest that money would have earned over the next 20 years. You're trading your future for a present. Look at me. When you realize that every purchase is a choice between your current image and your future autonomy, the impulse to spend loses its power over you. You stop seeing a sale as an opportunity and start seeing it as a distraction from your ultimate goal. This is where the strategy of wealth building becomes a form of rebellion. You are essentially opting out of the consumerist cycle that requires you to be a perpetual employee. You are building a freedom fund that acts as your private army. Every dollar you invest is a soldier that goes out into the world and works for you, so that one day you won't have to work for them. This isn't about being cheap, it is about being strategic. It is about allocating your resources toward assets that build your autonomy rather than liabilities that drain your energy. Consider the psychological relief of having a fuck you fund. When you have 6, 12, or 24 months of expenses sitting in a high-yield account or invested in low-cost index funds, your entire demeanor changes. You are no longer desperate. When a client or a boss treats you with disrespect, you don't have to swallow it for the sake of the rent. You gain the ability to walk away. That power alone is worth more than any luxury car you could ever drive. It changes how you carry yourself, how you negotiate, and how you view the world. It is the ultimate insurance policy against a life of quiet desperation. But let's get practical about the retirement part of FIRE. Many people fail because they view retirement as a destination, a place where they will finally be happy. They think, once I hit that $1 million mark, all my problems will vanish. That is a dangerous lie. If you don't know how to be happy and purposeful while you're building your wealth, you won't know how to be happy when you have it. You will just be a rich person with the same anxieties you had when you were broke. You need to build a life now, today, that you don't feel the need to escape from. You need to integrate your passions, your health, and your relationships into your daily routine, even while you are still grinding. What does this look like in practice? It means finding work that provides meaning, even if the pay isn't astronomical. It means choosing a career path that allows for autonomy. It means prioritizing your physical health because your body is the only asset that you cannot replace once it is gone. If you're working yourself into the ground to reach financial independence, you are sabotaging the very person who is supposed to enjoy that freedom. You must learn the art of the slow build. It is better to reach your goal in 15 years with your sanity and health intact than to burn out in 5 years and hate every second of the process. Let's address the lifestyle creep that kills so many dreams. As your income rises, the temptation to upgrade your life is almost physical. You get a promotion, so you move to a better apartment. You get a bonus, so you buy a better car. Suddenly, your expenses have risen to meet your new income, and you're back at square one. This is the trap. The goal of financial independence is not to increase your spending as your income grows. It is to keep your spending flat while your income skyrockets, and then funnel that difference into your wealth engine. If you can master the discipline of living on less than you make, even as you become more successful, you will reach your freedom much faster than you ever thought possible. There is also the matter of purpose beyond the paycheck. When you finally reach that point where work is optional, what are you going to do? If you don't have an answer, you will be bored within 3 months. Start exploring that now. What would you do if money were no object? Would you paint? Would you code? Would you teach? Would you start a small business that solves a problem you care about? Start doing those things on the side. Make them your projects. As you progress, these projects might even turn into income streams themselves, further accelerating your path to independence. This is the beauty of the modern economy. You can build a portfolio of passions that eventually replaces your primary source of income. Don't underestimate the power of stealth wealth. The richest people you know are often the ones you would never suspect. They drive reliable, older cars. They live in modest homes. They don't post their expensive vacations on social media. Why? Because they don't need to prove anything. They are playing for the long term. They understand that status is a trap and that the only opinion that matters is their own. When you stop trying to signal your wealth, you gain a sense of peace that is impossible to describe. You become immune to the keeping up with the Joneses game because you have realized that the Joneses are probably just as miserable and broke as everyone else. As you move forward, remember that this journey is not a straight line. You will have setbacks. You will have months where you overspend or markets that crash. That is part of the process. The key is to keep your eyes on the horizon. Don't let the noise of the daily grind distract you from your objective. You are building a fortress of time. Every decision you make, to cook at home, to skip the expensive upgrade, to invest in your skills, to avoid consumer debt, is a brick in that fortress. Over time, those bricks add up to a wall that protects you from the pressures of the world. Finally, ask yourself, what is the cost of staying where you are? What is the cost to your mental health, your relationships, and your potential? The cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of discipline. You have the power to change the trajectory of your life, starting right now. It doesn't require a lottery win or a high-paying executive job. It requires a shift in mindset, a commitment to your own autonomy, and the courage to ignore the societal scripts that tell you how you should live. You are the architect, you are the protagonist, and the life you want is waiting on the other side of your next disciplined choice. Think about the version of yourself 10 years from now. Do you want them to be still sitting in that same office, dreaming of a weekend that never feels long enough? Or do you want them to be waking up in a life of their own design, where the work they do is a direct reflection of their values, their passions, and their desire to make an impact? The choice is entirely yours. Every single day, you are voting for one of these two futures with your time and your money. Choose wisely. Choose freedom. Choose the reality of FIRE, not as a way to escape your life, but as a way to finally begin living it on your own terms.